What's up, Recovered on Purpose family? Thank you so much for being here for Monday Motivation right here on the Recovered on Purpose show. So happy that you're here. We are going to be talking about doing the things that we don't all want to do, but doing them like we love them on our way to success. Love you guys so much. Enjoy the show and keep living Recovered on Purpose.
The black represents the darkness from which we came. The white represents the light in which we now live. And the red represents the passion it takes to live Recovered on Purpose.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Recovered on Purpose show, Monday Motivation. I'm so happy that you're here. Let me know if you're coming in on the replay or if you're watching this live. Let me know your clean and sober date, where you're coming in from. Today, we're talking about doing the things that we don't want to do as if we love them because we know that that they're taking us to success. So I'm super excited that you're here. We have a whole new week this week. There's so much to do, so much to live for. And guys, we are clean and sober. We have so much work to do. We have success to lead. We have our lives to live now. So I took some ways to do this from an article in Forbes, and I've got 5 undeniable ways to live towards success. And when we're talking about the things that we don't want to do, nobody wants to get up early. Nobody wants to, do these things that they don't want to do. No one wanted to do the steps in order to get clean and sober. We all had to, buckle up and do the work. But if we are knowing that this is taking us towards success, if we know that this action is going to lead us towards the life that we want to live, then doing it like we love it will actually help us to grow into the person that we want to grow into. And we can enjoy the process, because I hated addiction. I hated the fact that I had to consistently go to the dope man. I hated the fact that I had to pawn everything that I owned. I hated the fact that I was living on the streets. But if I was able to get clean and sober, I found something that was going to get me clean and sober, that was going to free me from this, then why wouldn't I do it like I love it? Do it like my life depends on it. Do it like it's the only option that I have. And if we're looking at our life like that, there's 5 undeniable ways to live life when we come to a decision. Okay. So number 1, we're going to talk about move quickly. Move quickly towards the dreams that you have. Move quickly towards that life that you want. The longer that we are sitting stagnant, the longer that we are going to be laying in bed, or the longer we're going to wait to do the process that we're talking about, the longer it is that we're missing the time that we're able to do it. For instance, I've been down here in Colombia for 6, 7, 8 months now. And at the beginning of my life here, my first month here, I wanted to join the MMA gym. I wanted to get back into training. I wanted to fight. And for some reason, I didn't move quickly. I allowed myself to not go do it. I was going to the gym. I was being healthy, doing other things. But in the back of my mind, I had this idea that I wanted to train. And I decided a little over 2 weeks ago now, you guys might have seen it on a show, but I decided that I'm going to train. I'm going to fight. I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to get my skills back in order, and I want to compete. And when I made that decision, it was a couple days ago maybe, and I was at training and I was wondering, like, what would have happened if I would have done this 6 months ago? If I would have made this decision and actually done the steps, gone to the gym and started working out, where would I be at right now? What would my body look like? What would my skills be at right now if I would have done it 6 months ago? So whatever you're thinking about, whatever you want to do with your life, do it quickly. If you make the decision, do it now. There's nothing holding you back, and there's no reason not to do it. Do it like you love it. And if you know that this thing is what you want to do with your life, whether it's going to school, or if you want to speak, or you want to write a book, if you guys saw the episode last night with Crystal, like, the whole mental game is the hardest part of life. Making the decision, telling yourself, oh, I can't do it because of this, or, oh, I'll wait till this day, or something like that. All of that is the hardest part of doing things that we want to do. And then once we start doing them, we actually feel better. We feel better about our life. We feel better about what we're doing. And it just feels great. So get up and do it. There's no reason not to. And I did the steps. For instance, when I couldn't get clean and sober, I couldn't do it. I was homeless, and I couldn't stop using the needle. I couldn't stop using drugs. And when I made the decision that I'm going to do whatever it takes to get clean and sober, and the only thing left for me, I'd tried everything. The only thing left was the steps. I did them like my life depended on it. Every single day, every free minute, every free hour, I was spending my time reading the book and doing the steps. And what that did was it freed me from that bondage. It freed me from the obsession to drink and use. I did my first ever 5th step on day 25, clean and sober. On day 26, the obsession left and it hasn't come back. And that's a big deal for someone like us. That's a big deal for someone that can't stop using a needle, that can't stop drinking, that can't stop using. It's a big deal to be able to get freed from that. So I did them like I loved them. I did them like I enjoyed it. And I actually did during the process. I switched my mind from not wanting to do something to knowing this was the only thing that was going to free me from this bondage. So I did it like my life depended on it. I'm hopping in the comments saying, what's up, everybody? Good morning, Aaron from Australia. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, Pam. Good to see you, Pam. What's up, Bambi? Good to see you. Trisha, good morning. Good morning, Carolyn. Good to see you. Yep. I'm a couple of years away from 70 and slowing down. I understand it, Pam. I understand it. There's things that, there's wisdom to be shared. There's life to be shared. There's lessons to be shared. There's all kinds of things to do at all seasons of life. So move quickly. Another undeniable way towards success. Learn from failure. When we have failed at things in our life, we have to take the lesson from it. We have to learn that this thing doesn't work for us. Maybe that's, using drugs and alcohol. For me, I learned that lesson hard. I learned that lesson that I can't drink or use. I can't have just one drink. I can't have just one drug, because for me, I go in this spiral. I can't stop using. I don't know when I'll stop using. I don't know how much I'll use. And I had to learn that lesson. I've also learned a lesson in my recovery about being very careful about partnerships, being very careful about friends that you keep, the society that you keep around you, the people that you keep around you, the environment that you have. I've learned that lesson hard in my recovery. And now I pick and choose my friends. I pick and choose my partners, and I love doing it. I do it respectfully. I do it like with love and everything, but I'm hard nosed. If I see something in somebody that I don't want in my life, I'm not going to have them in my life. I've learned that lesson. I've learned the lesson. I'm not going to learn it again. So learn from your mistakes, learn from failures, learn from things that, you've been through in your recovery that you don't want to live over and over and over again. There's a better way to live life than to constantly do the same thing over and over and over. We've all heard that insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Now, another level of this is learn from other people's failures. If we have somebody that we trust and we're listening to them and we're learning from them, and they tell us something, a failure that they had, something that they did that really didn't help them in life, and they're talking to us about that, we're able to learn from that person and not go down that same path. So be wary of who you're allowing to speak into your life, who you're allowing to mentor you and spiritually advise you. But if you allow somebody to be in that position of your life, then listen to them. Learn from their failures. Don't let that time be taken away from you. Because if we have a mentor, if we have a coach, a spiritual advisor, someone that is telling us how to do something that we want to do that might take 5 years, because we'll be failing, we'll be learning lessons those whole 5 years, we'll be doing all that for 5 years. With the right guide, we could cut that back to a year, because we don't have to learn those lessons. We don't have to go through those failures, because they've already gone through it and they can show us the way. So be wary of that. Be wary of that. Well, as the tables turn Sunday morning, waking up happy, rested, full of positive vibes, drinking coffee, smiling, waiting in anticipation for my drunk husband to wake up. Oh boy, he wakes up sick and tired and sore and everything and has a headache. I giggle silently. He looks so ashamed and disgusted in himself. I am almost sorry for him, but I'm not. I realize that telling him was an ass he was last night won't be needed. My kindness and silence makes him feel worse. Yeah, Carolyn, I hear you. We've all been at a place where we woke up from a night before that we are embarrassed about, for sure. And Carolyn, I don't know the situation, but Just love him. I know you do. And I know it's hard. Just love him. I don't know the situation, but feel free to message me and we can talk about it. It's all or nothing. Amen. That's another one. Learn from failure. Take risks. Take risks. This is an undeniable fact of success. Taking risks in your life and what this means is like taking a risk of, go talk to her, go talk to him, that guy or that girl that you're afraid to go talk to. Don't be afraid to go talk to her, or be afraid and go talk to her. You never know what's going to happen from that. Don't be afraid to take the risk of, what are people going to think if I write this book? What are people going to think if I release my story? Take the risk of people not accepting you. Take that risk, because what you'll find on the other side of that is freedom. When we take the risk towards, allowing ourselves to put ourselves out there, when we allow ourselves to take that risk of being denied or not being accepted, we actually will be accepted way more on the other side than when we're trying to get accepted by everybody else. One of the best things that I started doing in my recovery was sharing my story, if not the best thing. Besides the relationship with God, step work, working on my foundation of recovery, in my recovery, sharing my story has made so many different pathways for me. It's made so many different relationships, so many different networks. And before I shared it, I was nervous what y'all were going to think. I was scared about what you all were going to think about me. But I took that risk. I wrote that book. I published it. And then I started getting on podcasts and things. And what actually happened was totally different than all the fear that I had in my head. All those fears never actually came to be. I was never really not accepted by people. I've had some messages here and there from haters, but the overwhelming percentage, the overwhelming majority of people that have accepted and loved me for it, and people that I've been able to help is way bigger than anything I could have imagined. And for some reason, before we take that risk, we have all the fears in the front of our mind instead of all the possibilities, all the positive things that are going to happen on the other side of it. So take the risk, go to school, write the book, share your story, make that post, talk to that girl, talk to that guy, start that business, start that side hustle, go to the gym, do that hobby that you've always wanted to do. Take the risk and live your life. Now, combine ideas with execution. Ideas are just ideas without execution. The thing that we want to do with our life, if you have the idea that you want to get your certified addictions counselor license, having that idea in the back of your mind forever will always stay as an idea, and it'll actually hold you back from everything else in your life just by sitting on that idea. By sitting on that idea like, oh, I wonder what it would be like. Oh, I want to do it. I don't know if I can do it. And thinking about it all the time for a certain amount, for forever, basically, it's just going to be sitting there forever. But if you execute on it, you go to school, you take the steps, you figure out what you have to do to get that, and you go towards it, you'll automatically get a freedom from within yourself instantly. Instantly, when you make the decision, you have a freedom within yourself. And then as you're executing, as you're learning from failures, as you're doing the schoolwork, as you're making the connections and things like that, you grow as a person. So through the execution is where we grow. Having the idea is not enough. Having the idea to write a book was not enough for me. Having the idea to help addicts in recovery share their stories powerfully was not enough. Having that idea, and thank God for this, God spoke to me when I had the idea. And I believe that God actually spoke the idea into me. And I've been executing since day one. And what that's done for me, it's given me this freedom. It's given me this passion and this feeling of purpose, this feeling of living my life like I'm supposed to be living it. And in that execution is where that's come from. So whatever idea you have, the one that you have in your heart and in your mind right now that you want to do with your life, whatever it is, it's time to take action. It's time to execute on it. Fear, F everything and run, or face everything and rise. Exactly. Amen, amen. Good morning, Scylla from Denver, Colorado. I'm from Denver. Good to see you. Yeah, be scared. It's okay, but do it scared. Builds that courage. Amen. Exactly. I'm learning to trust the process. Yes. Yes. And while we learn that process, execute on each step, whatever step that is. Trusting the process, a lot of people will twist that around, will twist that saying around to say, sit back and chill. Trust the process doesn't mean sit back and just let the process happen. It means trust the process that's been put in front of us to take the action steps and execute on that action plan. The process takes us just as much it does take the process. We've got to be ready to do the work, and doing the work is where the fun comes in. That's where the fun comes in. Lead change in your life. If we are to grow, if we feel like we want to be more successful than we are right now, and success is in every area of life. It can be in relationships, sobriety, helping others, monetarily, business. It can be sharing our stories, whatever it is that makes us feel successful. In order to lead us towards success, wherever we're at right now, we have things to change in order to become the person that has the life we see as successful. Whether that's cutting something out of your life or adding something in, taking a bad habit out and adding a good habit in, being the change and leading change in your life is one of the, if not the number one attribute of someone that's going to be successful. So whatever it is in your life that you need to cut out or add in, or if you need to start reading, or if you need to start taking the execution, if you need to start taking those action steps, whatever it is, where you're at right now, in order to get to where you want to go, you're the one that has to change. It's us. We have to change to become the person that we want to be. I love you guys so much. Have an incredible, incredible week. Happy Monday. Keep living.